Welcome to Productivity in Real Life. This is another video in our Working with Evernote series. And very specifically, we are continuing our look into Evernote for Windows version 10. This actually pertains to Mac users of Evernote version 10 as well, because both of those were released the other day, and both of those editions should be looking pretty much identical at this point in time. That was one of the reasons Evernote went with a totally new build, skipped some version numbers, and said, hey, here's our shiny new version 10.0 for Windows, for Mac, for iOS, and soon to be released Android as well. So if you've gone ahead and upgraded to version 10.0, you will be seeing something a lot like this. This is dark mode turned on. Let me just get rid of my window in the background here. So this is Evernote for Windows. Is Evernote version 10.0. This is one of my notes here, and you'll see we're over in our inbox. A lot of the features remain the same, but you can see a noticeable lag, some sluggishness. And if you've looked at some of my videos from yesterday, you'll see more about sluggishness. Offline mode support just doesn't really work at the moment. And if you're really truly frustrated and you've jumped over to the Evernote forums, you will see Evernote for Windows requests for version 10 and above. You'll see a lot of people that have been posting in here with problems and feature requests that have been removed, and people are wanting to know when they're coming back. URL support, search problems, offline mode failures, share notes via email is gone, scanning into Evernote with the Fujitsu SnapScan is gone or broken. I don't have one of those, so I don't worry about that too much. Some spell checking issues here, notes in separate windows, fonts have basically disappeared. And I kind of laugh at something as simple as fonts, but Evernote has a lot of users, and there is a lot of different case uses going on out there for Evernote. So something simple like fonts, where'd Evernote go? To me, might not be a big deal, and never has been a big deal, to be honest. So I look at that and I say, well, what's the big deal about fonts? And then I open the font list and I'm like, oh, I got sans serif, serif, slab, monospace, script, and handwritten. Well, yeah, I get 6 fonts now. Well, that's to give us cross-platform compatibility, which is understandable, but at the same time, yes, there's a lot of people that like to use different fonts. And then present the notes. Well, geez, note presentation is gone as well. I didn't know about that because I don't really use it. I've used it a handful of times, and so I would have never noticed that gone until I, of course, go to use it, and then, yeah, gone. Having an offline copy of my notes is gone, things like that. So there's a lot of stuff that you and I are going to have to get used to being missing, and perhaps, and at least hopefully, some of this stuff is on a roadmap for reintroduction. It's very disappointing that Evernote doesn't give us that roadmap and say, hey, we purposely had to remove a few things, but it's on the list. Actually, speaking of the roadmap, here's somebody that posted full map for users request. So unless we know about that, we don't know what's missing. We might have to, some of us might have to look at alternatives to Evernote. Some of us might have to branch out and say, my particular workflow in Evernote now has to go to a different application or a different set of applications because you can no longer do that same workflow in Evernote. But yeah, it's a frustrating time for a lot of Evernote users here. This particular person posted developers, please post a full roadmap for users. Given the frustration of users from the preview, beta, and now the general release about the removal of functions and sparse information about which may be still under development, I think it would be a good idea for Evernote to publish a full roadmap to show which features are coming and a list of those which have been removed for good. And exactly that. It's very important for us to know that. I don't think this would even need dates, just a list of features as a guide, or with a guide as to in development, coming later, removed permanently, and to show where the new client is going. And I definitely agree with that, and I guess I've already voted that up. I'll make sure we put that back on there. So you've got users frustrated. If we go over here to the possible bugs and technical issues for Evernote for Windows versions 10 and above, well, toolbar disappears, can't sign in, cannot paste hyperlinks from browsers anymore, Note is missing. I posted this one yesterday with a bit of a video. I don't have it public on my channel, but it's private in there. Or unlisted, I guess you could say. I create notes on other devices throughout the day here, and they don't show up. They'll show up in my activity today in Evernote, but they don't show up in my inbox where I've supposedly saved them. What else? Cannot paste highlighted text from MS Word or Google Docs. Slowest version ever. Grammarly extension. Import folders, I use those all day long, pretty much every day. I'm in a little bit of a break right now with a major project being completed, so not too big of a deal for me right now, but when those projects start up, those import folders are very, very useful for me. Note conflicts, duplicates, shortcut toolbars gone. People really relied on some of these things. Unable to install, can't disable spell check. Somebody having problems annotating a PDF. Finding notes issues. Only 50 notes are selectable. I posted this as well a couple of days ago. Printing is different if you're in light versus dark mode. The list goes on, and if we go possible bugs, iOS versions 10 and above, there's 1071 posts in there already. Evernote for Mac, only 42. Probably going to see a lot of the same things that we see on Windows. Keyboard shortcut issues, Command J, whatever that did. New note issues, first impressions, people just having all kinds of problems. Automated backups, menu bar problems. The list goes on and on here. All kinds of people are having problems, and a lot of us that have been in the software development industry are saying, look, Evernote, I'm not sure what happened, but what you've released here, and I saw this with the iOS release as well, you are releasing beta level software to the general public to use and put into production, and that's not a very good thing at all. So a lot of people very frustrated, very unhappy, and now they've got this version on their computer that's slow, it's sluggish. Some people are using it just fine, but a lot of people are really regretting installing this. See, I can't even scroll. This is my simple inbox here, and it's pausing and trying to download some information and cache, and whatever's going on behind the scenes. We don't even know fully what's going on behind the scenes here yet with the new software. So a lot of people are extremely frustrated, very disappointed, and it's negatively affecting workflows. So in response to that, Evernote at least came out and said, okay, will give you guys back an older version of Evernote. So for me here on Windows, that was in the 6.2 or 6.19, version 6 anyway, point something or other. And the new version of Evernote that you just saw here actually goes through and removes all of that old Evernote when you install it. Kind of frustrating because there goes all of the old data, all the old databases are gone. So you don't have a local copy of that information. You're relying on Evernote in the cloud. You're relying on a solid internet connection to be able to work all day long. So Evernote, anyway, like I said, Evernote came up with this. They posted this under their help and learning section. Install an older version of Evernote. We recognize that there may be some scenarios where it's necessary or desirable to use an older version of Evernote. This version is only temporarily available while we work to bring a few of the legacy features to our new apps. So they're acknowledging that they cut out a few things that people use and they are working to bring them back into play. It would be very important for us to know what those are and what is going to be left out, like I had pointed out on that one post in the forums there. So installing the Evernote Legacy app can be installed side by side with the new Evernote app. And if you've downloaded the new Evernote version 10, I would definitely recommend using it side by side. You're going to want to get familiar with using this version of Evernote, because this version of Evernote is what's going to be here to stay. We certainly hope performance improves. We hope that we're going to get our import folders back. We hope we're having offline support. The list goes on. But this is what you are going to have for Evernote. You can customize, a few of the things, your different view options, card view again, list view. So we certainly, here anyway, I don't want to discourage the use of this new Evernote. That's not what I'm here for. This is what we're going to see as the new Evernote. No amount of complaining that we do about it is going to necessarily bring back the old version, because they needed to rebuild the back end of Evernote to be able to move forward. It's frustrating, yes, that we see the 2 steps back and only 1 step forward, but a lot of what had to happen in the background has happened, and I think that should give us a positive move forward in the near future. Anyway, we're here, we've got our frustrations, we've got some inusability, so we want to bring back the old version of Evernote and get back to work the way we did. Just before we continue though, frequently asked questions: can I use this version of app for regular everyday use? For the very near future, you may continue to use this version for regular everyday use. However, we recommend that you update to and use the newest version of Evernote. And that's just what I said there. What can I do if I'm having trouble of this version? Discussion forums and help and learning. Basically, they're not going to give you much support for this. If you're unable to find a resolution, feel free to contact us, but note that in most cases the support team will encourage you to update to the newest version. And that's expectable or expected. Can I use a legacy app on iOS or Android? No. So, getting started here, if you're on Mac, click there. You've got a zip file that you'll be dealing with. On Windows, you're getting an exe file, so we're just going to click, go ahead and download that. I'm going to stick it on my desktop and hit save. 126 megabytes downloaded. We'll just go ahead and click to open. Please read the Evernote Legacy 6.25.2 license agreement. We will read that. Advanced, install just for me or install for all users. I'm the only user on this particular machine anyway, so I'm not too worried here, but we'll go ahead and hit next. We'll leave the default folders alone. Click install to begin. And you'll see you now get a gray icon here. Click the Finish button to exit the Setup wizard. And like I said, you will have a gray icon for Evernote. Installs on your desktop there. And you're back to what you had before, slightly new screen here. Again, subdued gray to tell you that this is a legacy version. Otherwise, everything's going to be more or less the same. We're just going to go ahead and sign in. Bring this back into view for you, and there is our old Evernote. You're giving it a couple of seconds here or a couple of minutes to sync up. But it's immediately brought all my shortcuts back in. Everything should be more or less the same. You might have a few settings that we have to deal with. Let's just have a quick look. Synchronization, on-demand sync, show advanced options, purge trailer view. So I think everything should be more or less back to normal, and it's back to very immediate normal. So I'm kind of surprised here. It's still reading from the old database, I think. Yes, it's still reading from the old database here. So here's my old database file. It's still, the new Evernote did not remove the old database information. It's kept it just in case, I guess, which is nice. So all of that information is still there. So at least they thought that through. You will lose some of the new features, some of the new formatting. You can see here, here's our old one, here's that same note. Once it loads, we've got different types of checklists. We got different colors of highlighting, and you'll see that's all gone here. We're just back to regular highlighting color, and our checklists aren't just a checklist anymore. They're just right back to a regular checkbox. But yeah, here is the old Evernote that you have used before, and you've grown accustomed to and put to work for you on a day-to-day basis. So Evernote is here. It has not disappeared, the old version. Your Evernote import folders, this is back. All the old information, my old configuration is still there for import folders. We'll just give one a quick try here. I've just dragged a PDF into my import folder, and look at that, right off the hop it came back. Move note to trash, inbox. So anyway, the old Evernote still exists if you've gone ahead and installed the new version and you are just struggling far too much to be productive in Evernote with version 10. Like I say, I would strongly recommend you do use it, you do play with it, get accustomed to using the new Evernote. But if you're really struggling with being productive, you can go back to the old version, get things done that you need to be dealing with, and still be able to play with the new version. like I say, this new version, a lot of bugs in there. You'll probably start seeing updates. I'll give it a check here. I haven't checked today. You're up to date. 10.0.10 is the newest available version. I suspect they're going to start pushing out a lot of updates, though, to start trying to clear some of the newfound bugs off the to-do list sooner than later. But anyway, the old version of Evernote, if you've gone ahead and made that mistake or what you perceive as a mistake with the new version, the old version is still available to you. Hope that helps. Hope that at least helps eliminate some of your frustrations with the new version. Like I say, I don't necessarily recommend putting that version 10 on a production machine, but if you have, here's how to recover from that. I will post the link address to where you can jump to this page down below in the comments section. But it's as simple as that. Jump to this page, hit download if you're a Mac. If you're on Windows, install that old version, and you're back up and running relatively quickly with what you are familiar with. But like I say, don't give up on the new version quite yet. I'm sure a lot of people have, and that's kind of disappointing. But yeah, we need to get used to using this and working with it. We just really hope that Evernote rolls out some bug fixes, performance fixes, all kinds of things like that in the very near future. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. This is Productivity in Real Life and our Working with Evernote series. Be sure to like, subscribe, and of course share this video if it was helpful.